right. Awesome. All right, hey everybody. It's so great to be back on the stage at the Lean Startup Conference. Super excited to be here. I'm going to share a couple things with you today. The first thing I'm going to share is just a little bit of quick history for those of you who are new to Lean Startup, how we got started at Intuit, and hopefully a few insights on how you can apply those to your own organization. And then second, I'm going to actually share two things we've been working on lately, which have really taken some of these Lean Startup principles to the next level. All right, so here we go. First off, I just got to say, I love Lean Startup. All right, so it was really transformational in the early phases of my career, creating a little bit of structure out of the chaos that really is innovation. It's helped us do more with less, and it's helped bring a whole series of amazing ideas to life at Intuit. You can read about tons of them in Eric's new book. There's a free plug. But ultimately, it really is a superpower. And that really is the first step in our journey. A few of us, let's call us early adopters, figured out how to apply Lean Startup, not just in a corporate setting, but inside the culture of our own organization. And from there, we started teaching other teams. In fact, we would teach anybody who would listen, mostly so we could create some allies and some partners in that change. And that was an awesome experience because the innovators, the early adopters at Intuit, really grabbed hold of the Lean Startup movement. But what really surprised us was there was a whole host of other kinds of teams that actually were attracted to the Lean Startup. Teams in HR, teams in finance, even teams in legal that adopted these best practices and actually applied them to their daily work. That was a huge surprise for us. It's a little obvious now, but 5 years ago, that was a really big deal. And so from there, we just kept going. We started teaching everyone. And actually, I love this photo because you can barely make him out there in the center of the screen. That's Scott Cook. He's the founder of Intuit. And he's actually running a workshop with over 1,000 Intuit employees. You can see them there spread out on the tables. And if you can just make out in the corner of that screen, he's actually walking them through how to create leap of faith assumptions, which I think is really cool. And so fast forward to today, virtually every single Intuit employee has had at least some level of Lean Startup training. That might be just lightweight principles all the way down to in-depth, weeks and weeks long training. So it's really powerful. Everyone at Intuit now has a shared language. And so I'll pause there for a second and maybe characterize this as the first phase of Lean Startup at Intuit. It was really about teaching everyone how to do it. And how we went about doing that was actually we started with ourselves. So for you in the audience, start with you. Become an expert. Figure out how to apply it inside your organization. You might need to align to your existing culture or maybe leverage things that your organization already does. But once you do that, share it with everyone. And I mean literally everyone. Again, going back to that slide. But now we're kind of at this point where we're trying to go beyond just how you do Lean Startup. And we started to observe there were some teams inside Intuit that were actually doing it better than others. And when we dug in and tried to figure out why are those teams actually doing better than other teams, what we discovered was they had actually not just learned how to apply Lean Startup principles, but they developed an innate sense of why they should do it in the first place. And if you think about it, that makes a lot of sense. Because entrepreneurs, innovators, these are folks who really go beyond just the products they're building, but they have a reason, a purpose for doing. And oftentimes you'll hear them say phrases like, fall in love with the customer's problem, not the solution. And they have a deep connection to customers. Now, in a large organization, it's really difficult to create that same connection to the customer. But that's what I'm excited about now. The next phase is actually Intuit has been spending a lot of effort doing something we call deep customer empathy. Now, what we mean by that is knowing our customers more than they know themselves so that we can ultimately go beyond their expectation and deliver delightful products. And I know that sounds a bit like a buzzwordy kind of a thing, but what I'm going to show you next is a technique that we've been doing across the company recently that's really helped us get to that customer connection. And that technique is called the Follow Me Home. And really what Follow Me Homes are is just going out into the world and meeting customers where they are. That might mean at somebody's home in the context of TurboTax. It might mean a small business in the context of QuickBooks, or in this case, I love this photo, is a team is actually going out and following an Uber driver around for the day. Luckily, that's easy to do because you can just hit a button and call your customer. Pretty cool stuff. But the spirit of that is actually to go out into the world and observe in real time, real life, exactly what's happening to the customer. So you can see for yourself what they actually do. It's not an interview where you're asking them what they did. It's a real observation so you can see what's happening. And there's two things that are great about that. One thing is you can actually see some of the things that maybe the actual customer doesn't realize they're doing. And two, you can actually create an emotional connection to your customer that you can leverage later when things get tough and your idea maybe is running into some headwinds. And the third thing that you can do when you're out there doing your Follow Me Homes is actually savor surprises. This is a phrase we use all the time at Intuit, is to keep an eye out for those surprises because those lead to insights, and insights change the game for our products. Quick example of that, there's a team in our Mint product, which is actually a consumer product, that noticed some of the customers, some of the Mint users were actually entering business as one of our categories. They were going through trouble to create a custom category. The team said, what the heck is going on? This is a consumer finance product. So they went on a series of Follow Me Homes, and what they discovered is people were actually trying to separate their business and personal in the types of businesses maybe they weren't traditionally considered small businesses. These are folks who are maybe Uber drivers, or they've got a side hustle, or they're doing some consulting, this sort of thing. And they don't think of themselves as businesses. They think of themselves as self-employed. And so what did the team do with that small insight? Of course, what any good team would do, they created a new product. It's called QuickBooks Self-Employed. But what's unique about this product is it only does one thing, and that's separate the business from the personal so that those folks can actually file their taxes much easier and get the maximum money back at tax time. Pretty cool stuff. Now, what I love about the QuickBooks Self-Employed story is, of course, they used things like MVPs. They got started in just a few weeks. They ran literally hundreds of experiments over the past few years, and it's really one of Intuit's fastest growing products. But when I asked this team, what's the one thing that really helped you break through? They all answer with, well, it was actually our very first Follow Me Homes. It was the first moment we went out into the world and we actually saw how much money the average self-employed person was leaving on the table by not properly tracking their deductions. It was literally thousands of dollars. And that really motivated the team to get out there and actually solve the problem. And then once they got into the how to run experiments and all that stuff, which is awesome, it was much easier to find that inspiration because they talked to customers. Pretty cool stuff. So there's me doing a Follow Me Home at a dance studio in Sunnyvale. But I wanted to just recap really quickly and tell you what I've observed the Follow Me Homes and gaining deep customer empathy really does to teams. There's actually three things. The first is insights. It really gives us an opportunity for those observations that lead to insights. Just like the QuickBooks Self-Employed team, that very small insight that they had actually led to a complete new product line for Intuit. The second is shared understanding. We're all busy, have a lot of competing priorities in our jobs, especially development teams at large companies. But when everybody has gone out and actually experienced for themselves what the customers are struggling with, it really cuts through the clutter. It cuts through those long backlog of potential ideas, and more times than not, makes it really clear where we should focus our energy. Without conversations, without long discussions, it's just obvious. And the third, which is my favorite, is actually motivation. And you can imagine this for yourself. You go out into the world and you observe somebody suffering or struggling or encountering a challenge, and you really want to help them. You can actually feel it in your gut. You want to help them solve that problem. That's really what we want people to do when they go and engage folks outside our organization, is feel that motivation to come back to Intuit and solve those problems well. It's a really powerful thing. And ultimately, it helps us know what's right for customers so we can make faster decisions. There's no conversation or opinions or discussion on what we should do. It's just innate to the team. And ultimately, we can deliver awesome products for our customers that change their lives. That's what Intuit is all about. And of course, at Intuit, we like to do everything at scale. So for the past 4 months, me and my team, what we've been doing is actually we have a program where every single employee at Intuit, just like the training, is actually doing Follow Me Homes with customers. So that's over 8,300 employees doing Follow Me Homes with thousands of customers in every single one of our sites globally. We're about 3/4 of the way through that. Let me tell you, it's been a little crazy. There's some fun stories coming from it. But I've really been encouraged by what folks are discovering, because what we're seeing at scale is the same things I just shared with you. Insights at scale, a shared understanding across all of Intuit, all locations, and the motivation for our organization to do great things this year for our customers. It's really, really cool. Now, that was the first topic. The second topic is we have all this energy, motivation, and excitement to go do wonderful things for our customers. And we have a process for quickly doing that in Lean Startup Principles. But the thing that we need to do now is actually channel that energy into the things that matter most. And at Intuit, we have something that helps us do that, which is called the customer benefit. It really is the ultimate metric of success for us. And the customer benefit metric is actually the measure of success as viewed through the lens of the customer. It's not a business metric or a financial metric. It's actually how the customer would measure their own success. We define it this way: the improvement in the customer's life and what matters most when choosing our product. And what that really means, I know it seems a little bit complicated, but the improvement is basically what they're doing today versus what we propose. There's a gap there. If you've done your job, you've actually improved their life in some measurable way that means something to the customer. And the thing you are improving, that's something that matters most. Hopefully something that you're leaning back to from your customer empathy work. And then, of course, the choice, well, if you do the first two things, well, then customers choose to try your product, they choose to buy your product, they choose to come back each and every week. So all of those things together equals the customer benefit. And what it looks like in the real world, these are actually 3 real customer benefit metrics that we track at Intuit. More money is how much money we can put back into the pockets of our customers. No work means how easy it is for them to get these tasks done. And complete confidence references how good they feel about the process and do they believe that they've done it right. These are 3 things that we actually put numbers behind and measure for each and every product. You'll notice there's actually no revenue metrics there. And in fact, there's no product-specific metrics there. That's a really powerful concept because teams can stop worrying about improving just the product they have today. They can actually explore brand new ideas for delivering more money, reducing the work, and increasing confidence. It's pretty cool stuff. Going back to our friends at QuickBooks, how that actually shows up in real life for them, they noticed on that early Follow Me Home that customers were leaving so much money on the table. And if you think about the more money customer benefit, it was thousands of dollars that folks were missing out on. And so that's really what they latched onto as a metric for their team. This is their webpage currently, and last year they were actually able, you can see it, more money is even in the tagline. Last year they were able to actually find, on average, almost just over $4,000 in potential tax savings for customers who use QuickBooks Self-Employed. That's a huge, huge improvement from zero in many cases, or very small amounts, to thousands of dollars. And so that's how we would measure the customer benefit of more money. Now, there's no wonder, of course, that this product has been chosen by many people, right? That is the secret of why this product is so loved by customers. It's a huge improvement that we're providing to our customers. And just like all the other stories I've told, we're doing it at scale. So it's not just for innovation ideas or innovation projects. We actually have customer benefit metrics identified and being measured for every single product at Intuit. TurboTax, QuickBooks, all of our core products, in addition to all the hundreds of little ideas that we have in our innovation pipeline. That's how we do it. And those metrics show up on our central dashboard right alongside business metrics that you might expect a big company to have. But it's the same dashboard our CEO uses, our CFO uses, and our senior leaders use to actually determine what it is we're going to work on and what's most important to our organization. And again, I think it's a really powerful concept because for the first time ever, the voice of the customer is actually showing up on our central dashboards. It's pretty cool stuff. All right, so I'm running out of time here, but I was calling this talk Finding Your Way. It's really about making the lean startup fit within the context of your own organization. And how that worked for us, the techniques might be different for you, but how that worked for us was really starting with the how. We taught every single person we possibly could how to actually do it. We didn't tell them how to necessarily apply it, but we told them how to do it. We were very inclusive. In fact, a lot of the stories you're going to read about in Eric's new book are from teams I didn't even realize were doing this stuff. Pretty cool. The second is now we're spending a lot of effort on the why, on helping our organization gain deep customer empathy for our users so that we can gain those insights, come to a shared understanding, and ultimately find the motivation to solve problems in their life. And then last but not least, we're measuring the customer benefit along the way. That's become our guidepost on whether or not we're actually solving for the customer. So we're measuring whether or not we're improving their lives. And yes, we see it later as them choosing our products, but we're starting to focus on this customer benefit metric as an input metric into whether or not we're actually doing a good job with those awesome customer experiences I just talked about. So that's how we've remixed all these concepts together into its own way, let's call it that. I don't know what it's going to look like in your organization, but I certainly hope a few of these stories have inspired you to give it a try. And that's really what the Lean Startup is all about. So with that, Thank you. If you have more questions, find me throughout the conference. I'm happy to share. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. High five.